Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. It is Monday. Monday is the beginning of a new training week. If, like me, you rest up over the weekend, that means that you are going to come into Monday with a new lease of life, ready to hit your training hard. And my friends, I implore each and every one of you to make this training week an exemplary training week. Now, in this short video, I want to give you all an update on where I'm at. If you follow this channel, you will have been expecting an epic 500 Navy SEAL workout video this weekend. I have a tradition of celebrating my birthday with a very hard workout. It's a statement of intent for the coming year. It's a reflection on the previous year. I really do believe that there are profound benefits psychologically, primarily, to doing very long workouts from time to time. As you'll know if you follow the program, that is not the bread and butter of the program. The program revolves around 80-minute training weeks, year in, year round. But very occasionally, as a departure from the training norm, on a special occasion, I like to do these big training sessions. Now, I'm very sad to report that I did not complete the 500 Navy SEALs. That's partly why you didn't see any footage of that workout. And the reason that I didn't complete it is, unfortunately, in the midst of that workout, I developed what I hope is a pretty minor irritation or injury on my left wrist. So at about 330 reps, I stopped the tape and gave up that session. I felt the pain building at around about 250, and at a certain point, a voice told me, "This is silly, stop." I don't know whether I should have trusted that voice. Perhaps I should have worked through the pain. But the fact is, there was a slight injury starting to build up, and because my training does not revolve around these one-off stunt sessions, it really is about longevity, about showing up week in, week out. I didn't want to do anything that would imperil the training practice more than it needed to. Now, whenever I get any kind of burpee-related injury, I worry about the optics. A big part of my message is that military-style burpees are overwhelmingly safe for the vast majority of people. And I try to be a proof of that concept, showing up week in, week out, year-round, injury-free. And so if ever I contract an injury, I worry that people will take home the wrong message about burpee training. There'll be a gotcha moment for the skeptics. And so I want to put the injury into a little bit of context. So the main issue I'm having is in my wrist. I'm feeling a bit of pain whenever I move my wrist up and down in the way that one needs to get into the push-up position in the burpee. Now, I think that there are two things to bear in mind about this injury in relation to the Busy Dad program and to burpee training in general. The first thing is, this is an injury that I picked up in the context about an hour and a half into a very long, very arduous workout. This is not the kind of repetition, not the kind of volume that you can be expecting to put in on the Busy Dad program. This is not what a typical week of training looks like. So that's the first thing to say. The second thing to say is that a big part of why I got this injury, and I was foolish here, this is a mistake I've made in the past and I made it again, is that I was training on a very suboptimal training surface. I was training out on my driveway, and it's not completely all over the place as a surface, but it is far from being even. And so what was happening was I was training on a gradient, which meant that, so the gradient was like this, which meant that I had to bring my hand up at an even steeper angle than I usually would, just to get into the push-up position. And so that meant that I think over the course of the workout, I just started to put strain on some of the ligaments and tendons around the wrist, and I started to feel this pain. I've been icing it pretty aggressively, and it's already starting to get better. But I think the two takeaways from this injury that I'm taking away with me are, first of all, be very, very careful if you're going to do a long burpee training session that goes beyond the kinds of modest 20 to 40-minute sessions that we typically program here on the Busy Dad program. And second of all, really prioritize training on an even training surface. If you're training on a flat surface, the chances are you are going to avoid injury, especially in the shorter workouts. But 2 hours of Navy SEAL burpees on an uneven surface was very ill-advised, and now I'm paying the price. The good news is that I feel like I'm pretty close to having my wrist back. The pain has gone down a lot. But it's important for me to practice what I preach. And if you work with me as in my coaching practice, you will know that at the first sign of any kind of injury, we back off. We back off for a week, for 2 weeks. And so tempted as I am to jump straight back into burpees because the pain has started to abate, I am going to make a point of taking this week away from burpees. Unfortunately, because the issue is exacerbated as soon as I plant my wrist, I can't even be doing 4 counts. I certainly can't be doing push-ups. And so a lot of the typical movements that I would fall back on are not available to me. That leaves me with a couple of choices from within the kind of orbit of the training programs that we've created here. The squat, the bodyweight squat, is a movement that we use on the Busy Dad program. And so one option for me this week would just be to go to Squat City. I could do 80 minutes worth of bodyweight squats. The problem is, and anybody who's done these workouts will know, if you haven't trained that kind of non-stop squat session in a while, the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, are just apocalyptic. I really won't have use of my legs for a few days. Now, that in the ordinary run of things would be okay, but I'm going to be on my feet more than usual this week. We've had some tornadoes here in New Hampshire. We've had trees falling down in our garden. We've got a lot of clearance to do. We've got a lot of housework to do, home repair to do. I need my legs. And in general, you want your training session, your training practice to be working for you, not against you, to be giving you vitality and energy throughout the course of the day, not to leave you limping around like a wounded soldier. And so, tempted as I am to go to Squat City, I'm not going to do that. And the only option that leaves me with is to have a week taking a full holiday from burpee training, going over to the Busy Dad running program. And so that is what I am planning for this week. I'll be doing a 40-minute steady run, probably today, and I'll be doing 2 much more intensive 20-minute sessions. This was a kind of training I did way back when I got a wrist injury, and it's a very satisfying form of training. I found it had a great carryover to burpees, and so that's what I'll be doing this week. It's very hard to film those sessions, and so you won't be getting any filmed training sessions from me this week. I assure you I will be getting my 80 minutes in, and I will look forward to checking back in with all of you next week. My hope is that over the course of the week, time will open up for me to do some sort of video to check in with all of you guys, but if not, I will use this week to get up to speed with all of the comments and questions that you guys have been leaving over the last 7 days, and I will just use this last part of today's video to implore you, okay, just because I'm out of the game, please train for me. Let me live vicariously through you. Work as hard as you possibly can this week. Put in an exemplary training week this week so that I know that just because I'm not able to train doesn't mean to say that you're not, and the Busy Dad program is alive and well. In the meantime, my friends, I will look forward to seeing you next week, and thank you as ever for all of your support.